Okay, so I wanted to introduce my guest, Mary Vaughn, who is a seasoned executive coach and consultant for over 35 years. And in her experience, she thrives on helping leaders and organizations through change. She's an author of the Gruntled Employee and the founder of Gruntled University, where she focuses on improving workplace effectiveness, relationships, and results, especially around the technology and CIO leaders. So today's topic is going to be about the three critical success factors for business transformations. Welcome, Mary. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you, Jess. Nice to be here with you today.
I'm so happy to have you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to just connect with you on this different platform. So we're gonna kind of jump right in because this is micro learning, and so it's like a 15-minute session that we want to be able to have people learn about this topic. So I'm gonna start by asking you, what do you believe your superpower is? What do you do best, and how has that shaped your approach to digital transformations?
Yes, my superpower, I think, is being able to take a holistic approach to things and particularly focusing on the people aspect of change. And the talked about the three critical success factors. Let's start with the three causal factors for most failures or
Oh.
most business issues. So those are where employees are not working well together or not doing what they're supposed to be doing, ineffective
Mm-hmm.
leadership, and then business system characteristics not supporting or encouraging the right kind of behaviors. So as you can see, that's all about behaviors. So
Wow. So that's an important topic because a lot of times we're thinking about business processes and business systems, but not the behaviors and how that impacts the workflow, right? So before we get into the gotchas, tell us why this topic matters to you and who should pay attention to this.
So why it matters is that even when transformations are have an org change component, they tend to just focus on communications and training, and they're not really focusing on the behavior changes that are needed. And everything is really done by people, and so how they behave during an implementation or even afterwards is really important. So transformations require people to work better together and to work
Mm-hmm.
differently. And yeah, kind of the business system characteristics is a part that's really important that people don't quite understand. There's certain characteristics in a company's business system that's going to encourage certain behaviors. And I'll give an example like I've labeled one set of characteristics as dependent, where you have
Mm-hmm.
hierarchy in the org structure. You have real bureaucratic processes. You have top-down management plans, and that kind of just
Mm-hmm.
encourages employees to passively do what they're told to do. They're very dependent on the managers. Another
Right.
set of characteristics is independent, where it's you have functional silos or department silos. You have no process. You may have
Mm.
distributed management plans, and that really encourages employees just to do whatever they feel like doing. That very independent behavior. And then I've come up with a set of characteristics that encourages employees to work together better. And so that includes service
Mm.
oriented roles and responsibilities, things like end-to-end processes. That's going to, when you put those kinds of characteristics in your business system, that's going to encourage people to work together better.
Wow, that's great. And that's a great highlight. So, over this time, when you realize that people don't focus on a lot of behaviors as it relates to the systems within the business, like what are some of the gotchas that you found or have run into over the years?
I think some of the gotchas that I think one is leaders kind of being in denial that there was, there's an issue within within the company.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was one company that I did some work for where the leaders were thinking that they did a pretty good job delivering software, and they had a
Uh-huh.
horrible record of delivering software into production. And that was
Now, is
going to
that
end
more
up with that
surprising? Is
company
that more
losing a contract.
surprising?
Yes?
Oh my gosh. Is that more surprising to you, or is that more surprising to the leader themselves? Like, do the leaders just think they're perfect and that they don't have an issue?
Yeah, I think it was. I guess it was surprising to me, and it required me to kind of educate them on what could be, what it should be, how things should be. Is leaders using real authoritarian behaviors and not
Mm-hmm.
realizing the impact that that has on employees, and that the risk with that can end up leading to hostile workplace lawsuits and things like that.
Oh,
And then
oh
again,
yeah.
the other one is the leaders not really understanding about the business characteristics, the business system characteristics. So
Wow. So through all that, Mary, we talked about, some of the gotchas and what surprised you, and even some of the risk of, even some compliance issue or legal issues that
mhm.
could happen if leaders don't pay attention to the characteristics, right? So how would you tackle that challenge, or what could you do instead to prevent those gotchas from happening?
Well, it depends on. I've learned that there's like four stages of learning, and the first stage is unconscious incompetence, where they don't even know that they're bad at something, either their own behavior or the business system characteristics. And so I use assessments a lot, interviewing employees, or I have other assessments to get leaders to realize that there's an issue and that there's something that they need to work on. And then the next step is, going to conscious, that takes them to conscious incompetence. And from there you have to, or conscious incompetence, they realize that there is an issue. Next step is getting into conscious competence. And I do that a lot with workshops
Mm,
and, getting people together. But again, the assessment is a really important part, and then sometimes follow-up assessments later on, like 6 months later,
mm-hmm.
particularly if it's behavior
Right.
related, to see if the change actually took.
Oh, definitely. And so, with those assessments, do you begin to see some of the patterns, right? And then, and then cater the tools according to the patterns and the behaviors that you're seeing to create like a plan? Is that how you would approach it?
Yes, yes, yes. I have a lot of toolkits that I've developed along the way. Some that help employees change their behaviors, some that help, again, the leaders change their behaviors, and to be able to manage the employees better, get the results. I'm a big fan of metrics. That is a really
Mm-hmm.
key one on getting people to change behaviors. In fact, it's helped me change my own behaviors. I instead of getting upset, with people because they're not doing what they need to, when you have a set of
Mm-hmm.
metrics, you can be a much kinder leader, where it's like, oh look, we're not quite getting the results that we need. What are you, what are your plans? How do you plan to address this issue and turn this around?
Yeah, I think that like people have a hard time defining those metrics, especially at the baseline, right? So I always like to give some type of like, what are the standard KPIs, or what are the standard metrics that we can use to evaluate this? And then go through the exercise of understanding what that baseline is. Have you found that people have a hard time just having the baseline metrics even available to start?
Yes, yes, they definitely do, and so sometimes again assessments help. That can
Mm-hmm.
provide a baseline for you, or a starting point. But also sometimes you need to collect data for a period of time in order to get a baseline, and then you
Right.
can figure out. what you know, how much you need to improve, or what your targets are for improvement from there.
Yeah, that's great. And so, with that being said, do you use those metrics in order to measure success, or do you work with your clients to define what success looks like, and then measure against what you were able to achieve? How do you define success or measure success?
Yes, I mean, definitely working with clients to see what they think is, what how they would define success, but also taking a look at some industry standards. And
Mm-hmm.
another part of this is I'm a big fan of balanced scorecards where you measure
Yes.
financially, how things are looking,
Mm-hmm.
customer satisfaction, your process efficiency and effectiveness, and then again, employee success too, or learning and growth with employees, or employee engagement. If you don't take kind of a balanced approach, just focusing on one of those can lead to not good results in the other areas. I've seen companies focus on the financial parts of it, and then that can lead to customer unhappiness and employee
Mm-hmm.
disgruntledness too, if you just focus on one area. So you need to kind of take a balanced approach to metrics.
Wow, I think that's a perfect segue just to understand, like, if you could, give one word of advice or one tip, or takeaway for someone or other organizations facing some of these issues, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to really focus on the behaviors, when they're planning their transformation, to really think about the people aspect of it. Because it's very
Mm-hmm.
easy to get focused on the reorganization or the process, or the technology that they're implementing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's a people aspect that, and what behaviors do you need your employees to do to make this transformation successful? What do you need your leaders to do? And personally,
Mm-hmm.
what behaviors do
Do
you need
you
to
need?
change, and what might you need to do with the business system to encourage the right behaviors across the board?
Wow, that's a great tip. So with all that being said, is there anyone that you would recommend or nominate to also share their gotcha next in the industry?
I I have a couple of people come to mind. I'll have to
Okay.
yeah, I'll have to check with them and then get back with you on that one. So
All right, that would be great. It would be great if you could pass the mic on that so we can continue to understand,
yes.
the success factors for any transformation within an organization. So, are there any closing words or anything that you would like to say to the audience? I really enjoyed this time. Thank you for being so concise, and I think I may need to look at those behavioral changes as well and work with you on for myself and for my team and just for, the transformational journey. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would just say that this doesn't apply just to business transformations. It applies to your personal life too, as I've
It
learned from
could.
my personal experience. Yes.
Absolutely.
So,
We can apply this to business and personal. So Mary,
yes,
I
very
thank
much
you
so.
for your
Yep.
I thank
Well,
you for
thank you
your
so
time
much for
today.
having me, Jess.
Absolutely. This has been so fun. And I just remember when I first thought of the idea of kicking off the podcast, you really encouraged me, like, ask those questions. Like, what are you trying to achieve? Ask those questions, Jess. And so thank you for being a part of this journey coming true for me. And I really appreciate you. And for the listeners, this is just a reminder that every transformation has its gotchas, and I'm here to guide you through them. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Mary.
All right, take care.